One must make the warrior walk his everyday walk. Miyamoto Musashi. What I think Musashi means by that is that as we practice, we have to practice with a will to succeed. And that's what we do every day, following these charts 10 to 15 minutes, making sure that we are writing down, noting what it is we are learning, that we're doing all the practice trading that we possibly can. And of course, if you're a Patreon member, you get 20 possibilities every single week with the S&P 500. I think we've only had 1 week in the last many weeks where we didn't have 20 weekly vertical crossovers. We look for 10 up and 10 down. Sometimes it's more of one than the other. And I think we've only had 1 week where we didn't have 20. That was maybe 3 weeks ago. It was just an odd week, but that doesn't happen often. Also, Patreon members, do not forget this Wednesday, 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time, we will be having our live question and answer call-in session. We have sent out to you that notification. Please make sure that you send us your questions, the stocks you're interested in us helping you backtrack for practice trading. Send us those identifiers. We'll get busy. We'll be ready for all of you this Wednesday. If you can't join us, Patreon members, of course, we will endeavor to videotape it as we always do and send it out to you as soon as it's over. Now, you want to be a Patreon member? Go sign up. Let's jump into these charts. What do we see going on? We see stocks mixed for the day. Bonds and Bitcoin up, gold down. Let's start with the S&P 500. It was down 0.20%. We can see how the week is starting when we look at the first day of this latest weekly candle. Little candle not reaching a higher high. It is green, even though it was down for the day. These are Heikin Ashi candlesticks. They're showing us average pace. I'm going to put at the end of today's training video the Heikin Ashi training if you've not taken it. It's one of our most popular ones. If you have taken it, hadn't taken it for a while, relearn the important basics about Heikin Ashi candlesticks. They're not high open, low close. They are put together differently, and that makes all the difference in the world to help you see average pace. Look at the price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator is flat on this Monday at the close of the market. What is happening with our 2-day trend line? Has it crossed over going down? It has not. It's still just barely above the price percent oscillator. Look at price sitting right there on that 2-day trend line. Derivative oscillator gaining a little downward momentum, but we don't have a crossover going down yet. It's getting awfully close. Let's see as we move into the Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday would be your next opportunity to jump into a 2-day recross going down, since it did not happen on Monday. We told you to watch for that, and it just didn't happen. There just wasn't enough energy for it to cross over. Now, that's telling you something, telling you don't do it yet. Now, you might say, well, what if it really moves over a Tuesday and Wednesday? Well, guess what? The charts didn't tell you to do that. It could also bounce off. It could bounce off rather quickly. So we'll watch, we'll wait, we'll learn, we'll take notes and understand for the future. What about the half day? Well, we can see where things are up a little in the morning, down in the afternoon. Price percent oscillator ticking over, going down. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. But the half-day chart is not the 2-day, and it's darn sure not the 10 times larger weekly chart. So remember, think about it. The 2-day chart is 4 times larger than the half-day, and the weekly chart is 10 times larger than the half-day. That's why we put more emphasis on the bigger wave. The weekly is our biggest wave. That is where we have the weekly vertical crossovers that help us make our trading entry decisions. Let's go to the Qs. It was barely up for the day, 0.01%. So just barely, same kind of candle, not as big as last week's candle, not as high. Price percent oscillator heading down, derivative oscillator losing upward momentum, but that price percent oscillator is still positive. Now this is interesting. Look at what has happened as far as the 2-day candle goes. It is a red hammer almost a spinning top, little wick on the bottom, red down candle. And look, we had a crossover going down. We've been telling you that if you were still in that 2-day in that trade on the weekly that it has come to an end. If that 2-day crosses over going down, that is your last. You can always get out earlier and take a profit. But when it comes to what's going on with the 2-day, when it crosses over, for sure, you are out. So we have a 2-day crossover going down. It's not a recross because it's not going in the direction of the weekly. It could be setting you up for a recross going up in the future, but that's not what is happening now. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. 2-day derivative oscillator at the end of the day is about flat. Price percent oscillators heading down. And of course, we ended the day with a red spinning top on that half-day chart. So we are out of that crossover going up that we had, the weekly vertical crossover back on the 2nd of July, on the 2nd of August. That is completely done. Okay, that's where we are on stocks. Let's move from stocks to bonds. Bonds up 0.77%, starting the week off as things just continue to move up that weekly trend line. Price percent oscillator edging up. Derivative oscillator peaked about 3 weeks ago and is heading down still. What about the 2-day? 2-day trying to head up on that weekly, on the price percent oscillator. Derivative oscillator gaining a little downward momentum. Green candle drawing, heading right up that 2-day trend line. And of course, we're in that 2-day recross. And we'll just continue to watch and see where things go. It's just amazing, isn't it? Let's go to the half day, crossed over in the morning, heading up. That's where it really peaked. And then in the afternoon, bigger candle, but didn't hit the higher high. Price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator heading up. So it's interesting. It's the little engine that just could keep going, isn't it? Amazing. That 2-day recross, again, just keeps chugging. What about gold? Gold down for the day, 0.11%. We didn't have that weekly vertical crossover last week. Maybe it'll happen this week. Again, starting off with a little green up candle. Derivative oscillator still negative. We'd love to see that go green at the same time as the crossover occurs. And I have no idea what is going on and popping up on my screen here. Let us go back. I don't know what that's about, friends. Sorry about that. We'll continue to record. What do we see here, though? We see, again, things slowly edging along in gold, trying to move up. Don't have that crossover yet. Let's go to the 2-day. What do we see there? Well, on the 2-day, we see that we have a green up candle, not reaching a higher high. Price percent oscillator about flat. Derivative oscillator losing a little momentum, still positive. So we're still hoping and waiting to see if gold is going to cross over, going up. Maybe that'll happen at the end of the week on that weekly chart. What do we see on the half day? We saw where it popped up high last Thursday. And then down Friday, down in the morning on Monday, and leveling out a little in the afternoon, shaving off some of those losses, but still down 0.11%. That's where we are on our 4 big charts. Lastly, let's look at Bitcoin, up 1.54% for the day, starting the week off with a green up candle. That's good. We see the price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator getting closer to the green. Again, maybe Bitcoin has bottomed, hit that 50-period moving average line and heading up. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope. That's what it's looking like as we start the week. That 2-day, again, as it moves up, we said it was up 1.54%. The high so far this week, 39,896. 39,890. Okay, we're still getting that same figure is bleeding over. So we'll continue to watch and see. Derivative oscillator heading up, price percent oscillator heading up. What about the half day? We can see where things popped up and then rolled over and trying to gain some for the day. Half day still positive. So what we're really watching is continuing building energy on that on the 2-day and the half day, but particularly the 2-day, to see if that's going to add into a weekly vertical crossovers sometime in the near future. We've shown you plenty of times how good that last one was to us, somewhere around the $12,000 mark and somewhere up to a high of around the $59,000 mark. So anywhere in there would have been a nice chunk of change to take out, wouldn't it? So we'll continue to watch and see where these things go. If you want to learn how to trade Bitcoin, you got to practice it, my friends. Practice it with us. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.